Hey, welcome back to How to Grow My Small Business. I'm your host, Lindsay Fletcher, your business coach, accountability partner, and cheerleader all in one. Around here, we cut through the noise, focus on what works, and help you grow your business with confidence. Today, we're diving into a marketing class that none of us signed up for, but we are all getting to watch in real time. Taylor Swift launching her new album on the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis Kelce, paired with Travis being featured on the cover of GQ magazine. Now, you may not be a Swiftie and you may not be an NFL fan, but trust me, there are some serious takeaways here for your small business. I'm just going to dive right in because Taylor is a marketing genius. And there was so much strategy that I've seen in this whole thing, and I'm sure that there is so much more than what I'm going to discuss today, because I'm not really a Swiftie or a Travis Kelce or a Kansas City Chiefs fan. There's just so much to dissect here and so much to think about. And as I dive into this, I want you to think about each part and perhaps try using just one of these strategies in your business if you can apply it appropriately, okay? Let's just dive in because there's so much juicy stuff here. Okay, first up is strategic timing. Now, Taylor didn't just drop her album announcement anywhere or at just any random time. She chose a moment and a platform that made sense. She aligned herself with a podcast that already had a ton of buzz. Her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, and his brother, Jason Kelce, are the hosts. It's called New Heights, and they have an audience that overlaps her fan base and reaches new listeners. And then meanwhile, this might be the most strategic move of them all. Travis Kelce, her boyfriend, shows up on the cover of GQ that happened to be in the same month that Taylor is announcing her next album. Tell me that's a coincidence, because 1,000,000% it was not a coincidence. And Travis expanded his reach beyond football into fashion and lifestyle branding. The timing of these two things coinciding was no accident. There was zero accident in this. This was a strategy. Everything that Taylor Swift does as far as marketing goes, things like dropping Easter eggs for her fans. Have you all heard about her Easter eggs? She does things, she plants things or items or messages in places that her fans look for and dissect and try to figure out what she's talking about. So at the end of her shows in the Eras Tour, she would exit a certain way off of the stage. Well, the very last night, she changed up her exit from the normal exit that she was doing to exiting through an orange door on the last night of her Eras Tour. Literally everything this woman does has a strategy. And you can bet that Travis being on the cover of GQ at the same time in the same month that she launches her new album and is on his podcast was totally planned, totally timed, and completely genius. So here's the takeaway for you as a small business owner. Timing matters. Announce your new product, launch your new thing, your new service when your audience is already paying attention. So tie it to something relevant like an event, a holiday, or even a collaboration. And we're going to talk about that. That's a perfect segue into point number 2. Point number 2 is borrowing other people's audiences. Collaboration is gold, okay? So there's been a lot of hype, both positive and negative, about Taylor Swift going to her boyfriend's NFL games. If you've missed that, you must have been under a rock. I don't know. But she has been going to watch Travis play on the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's tons and tons of buzz about Taylor being in the building while he's playing, and the cameras are constantly on her. So there's been this positive reaction from dads and little girls who are now watching football together, and on the flip side of that, negative reaction of people who just want to watch football and don't care that Taylor Swift is in the building, right? However, the NFL was thankful that she was there because viewership soared. More girls and women were watching games. and it was an all-around good thing for the NFL to borrow, in air quotes, Taylor's audience. Okay, then now that Taylor has been on Travis and Jason's podcast called New Heights, it's a really good, fun listen, by the way. If you've never listened to their podcast, I would recommend it. She is also borrowing their audience by being on New Heights. She's tapped into the Kelce brothers fan base, football and sports fans who may not typically follow her. And then Travis, being on the cover of GQ, then borrows the GQ follower base, right? And he's expanded his reach beyond football into fashion and lifestyle. So here's the takeaway for you as a small business owner. Obviously, you don't need to be on the cover of GQ, but you can borrow other audiences by collaborating. So I'm going to give you some examples. Think podcast guesting, joint workshops, cross-promotion with other small business owners. Think outside of the box here. If you own a local service-based business, find some local podcasts about moving to your area or things to do in your area and ask to be a guest. Maybe you're a mortgage broker. Partner with an insurance broker and create some reels with each other asking questions about their area of expertise. You could really knock out several pieces of content very quickly with this and then cross-promote each other. If you have an email list that you nurture, swap spots and give each other's audiences some tips on policy renewals and refinancing. There are so many ways to collaborate and borrow other people's audiences, and they can borrow yours. It's a win-win for everyone. Okay, I could go on and on about that. We're going to move on to point number 3. Point number 3 is maybe the best thing that Taylor Swift does. She is a storyteller. Storytelling wins every time. It's part of why Taylor's music is such a big hit. She is a great storyteller. She's a master at storytelling in her lyrics, but she's also really great at storytelling on everyday things like baking sourdough bread, right? And then because people are so heavily invested in Taylor and Travis's relationships because they are celebrities, they are famous, it's not just about the music or football, it's about them showing and telling about their connection. They let us all get an inside view of their lives and their relationships. Travis and Taylor showed up with a little glimpse of how they treat each other. Taylor told stories about creating her next album, why she chose the photo of the cover, the color orange, why she chose that. She talked about buying back all of her music and why it meant so much to her. She talked about baking sourdough bread. They shared a lot of stories on this podcast. I also believe it's one of the reasons that New Heights podcast is so loved, because Travis and Jason tell stories about themselves as kids, as NFL players, and about their relationships with other famous people. They let us get a glimpse into their lives with their stories. So here's the takeaway for you as a small business owner. Your audience connects with your story. Not someone else's story, they connect with your story. So share some behind the scenes moments. Talk about your why and the people behind your business. Highlight your employees, highlight your team. That human connection builds curiosity and it also builds loyalty. People love stories and they are so much more memorable than just giving out information. Be like Taylor. Be a storyteller, okay? All right, point number 4, the last but not least, is a layered marketing approach, meaning that I want you to notice how Taylor wasn't just relying on one platform. She didn't just post on Instagram, and let's be honest, she's Taylor Swift, so she could have just done that, and it probably would have been enough because her fans would have taken it and ran, right? But it wasn't just an Instagram post. She was on the podcast. Travis was on GQ. They created a social media frenzy. There's also fan speculation and, her Swifties were diving into all the things and looking for Easter eggs that she's taught them to do, right? Taylor creates layers of attention that feed her new and old fans and followers, okay? So the takeaway for you here is don't rely on one platform. Don't just rely on Instagram or TikTok. Layer your marketing so your audience sees you in multiple ways. This might be email, podcast guesting. If you have your own podcast, talk about it multiple times. Networking events, social media, if that's what you're into, and yes, even referrals. It doesn't have to be everywhere. It just needs to be intentional with your marketing layers. So for me, for example, I'm writing emails, I'm on my podcast, I'm in my free online community, I'm podcast guesting, I'm networking, and I'm engaging with my current and past clients. For example, if you own a med spa, yours might be social media, networking, collaborating with others, email blasts, or social media content, right? Now, there's another part of this that I do want to talk about here. Of course, we need to talk about the fact that all three involved, Taylor, Travis, and Jason, have enormous followings, right? They have millions and millions of fans. You might be thinking, okay, Lindsay, but I have less than 500 people following me on any given platform. The fact is that all of this went crazy in a split second because they have the fan base to make it go crazy immediately. And the average small business owner like me, and perhaps like you, does not have that type of reach, right? But there are still lessons that we can learn. So prior to COVID, the average person, and I don't know who comes up with these numbers, but the average person had to see something somewhere between 7 and 9 times to even know that they could buy it or get it, to even know that it was a thing that existed. Okay, that's how short our attention spans were. Now, post-COVID, it's something like 20 plus times. Honestly, I would guess it's even more, but that's the recent statistic that I've read. So what I want you to know here is that you can't just talk about something one time. You can't just post about it once or email about it once. That's simply not enough. You have to plan to talk about your product or service on a regular basis over and over and over and over. And for us as small business owners, we talk about it so often, or we feel like we're talking about it so often that everyone's heard it, everyone's over it, no one wants to hear it again. But the fact is that you know that if you're posting it on social media groups, that only a very small number of followers is given and fed your content. It's something like 1 to 3%. So let's make the numbers easy here. If you have 100 followers, only 1 to 3 people are seeing your content. So for most small business owners, posting one time is not going to cut it. It's not even close to cutting it, right? So we have to plan to talk about our products and services regularly. So that might look like something like posting in local Facebook groups, popping into your online community. It might be networking on a regular basis and talking about the same product or service over and over and over. If you're doing a product or service launch, like a new product or service launch, you're going to need to talk about it way before the thing is alive and ready to be purchased so that people are ready for your launch, okay, if that's your business model. And you'll have to continue talking about it often, okay? All right, let's wrap this thing up in a pretty orange glittery bow for you. See what I did there? Okay, here's the overarching lesson here. Marketing isn't about shouting the loudest, okay? It's about being intentional with where you show up, who you partner with, and how you connect your message to real, live, living people. Whether you're launching a new service, hosting an event, or just trying to keep your business top of mind, I want you to think like Taylor Swift. Where can you show up that makes sense? Whose audience can you borrow? And how can you build a story that people want to talk about and want to share and want to purchase? So as a recap, here are your 4 ways to market like Taylor. Number 1, strategic timing. Number 2, borrowing other people's audiences. Number 3, storytelling wins every time. And number 4, layer your marketing. Don't just post on one platform. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you found this helpful, share it on your social media or with another business owner that could use a little marketing inspiration, if you would. That would mean so much to me. Before we go, if you are a female entrepreneur who is just starting out and needs a little help with sales, marketing, and what to focus on, or if you are a more seasoned entrepreneur that just needs accountability to stay on track and focused, my monthly group coaching program was built just for you. It's called She Builds Momentum. It's a low-cost, low-commitment membership that will help you block out the noise of all of the shoulds. You know, the I should do this or I should do that. And it will help keep you on track with what works in your business. You can check it out at momentum.lindsayfletcher.co. The link is in the show notes. Again, this website is momentum.lindsayfletcher.co. Okay, that's a wrap on 4 marketing lessons from Taylor Swift. Keep showing up and keep serving. I'm praying for you and I'm praying for your business. I'll talk to you next week.